Welcome back. This is Daybreak, and thank you for staying with us. The hashtag on X is Citizen Daybreak. The SMS code is 22422 at Citizen TV Kenya and at Ayub. Abdikadir will be sampling your feedback in the course of this broadcast, and this morning focusing on the concerns that have been raised by the comrades across universities and the mess that is they are in, deepening over now what the lecturers are calling the crisis at the universities from one to the other, and the limp which appears not to get better, and including the new funding model that students have expressed concerns over. Negotiations to improve conditions have triggered a crisis. We have witnessed what happened at Multimedia University, and their Secretary General is here with us, Remi Delile Osoti. Good morning.
Good morning, Ayu.
Thank you. Lovely to have you here on the broadcast. Fidel Wadinga, on my immediate right, is the president at the Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology. Good morning, Fidel.
Good morning.
Thank you as well. And Evans Kipkorir Sarem is student leader at Kabarak University. Good morning, Evans.
Good morning, sir.
Lovely having you here on the broadcast, and we're expecting the presence of Gloria Chieng, a student leader at the University of Nairobi. A lot is happening, gentlemen, and to just begin with you, Remi.
Yes.
What really triggered the crisis at Multimedia University?
First, I want to say that it's so unfortunate, the situation that we are in today at our university. In Multimedia, those comrades are fighting for their rights, bad governance, and lack of things that they believe are basic needs for a comrade to survive within a university setup. That was not right. So those comrades were, one, fighting for better governance, better service delivery, and conducive living environment that led them to where they were.
So generally it was about welfare?
Yes, students' welfare.
What were the specific issues, if you were to further expound and specify?
Okay, as at Friday last week, we had water shortage within the institution. And if we lack water within the institution, then it means everything comes to a standstill. So water was what they are running from Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and better part of Monday. So when it reached Tuesday, it was now worse, and the comrades decided to take actions at their own hand. That is just amongst other things that they felt. Along the letter that is submitted to the administration, there are several concerns that were also there, including Wi-Fi connectivity, including the study seats within the hostels. They had concerns over curtains. So the concerns were numerous, and in a letter dated to the administration, I had like 7 concerns to the comrades that were supposed to be addressed that had not been addressed by then. Yeah.
And have these issues been addressed since you staged the demonstrations?
I'm glad, though it's unfortunate that we must go that direction so that issues be addressed. However, having engagement with the administration, they've committed, and as at by yesterday night, I'm happy that some of these things were already being implemented, including implementation of water buzzers, including study seats that trickled in as early as late night, and the window curtains that I'm told to arrive this morning. Yeah.
All right, Evans.
Yes, sir.
Generally, how is the welfare across universities? I mean, if this is just a microcosm, just a representation of what many comrades are calling is a welfare problem, is this a common denominator amongst many university going learners, and is there a sufficient response from administrations across universities, from where you sit?
Thank you, Ayub. I think there must be a rethink in majorly our public universities as far as matters resources is concerned, because you find that majority of the universities are facing maybe economic shutdowns, and with these economic shutdowns, it leads to deplorable conditions. The conditions may be the hostels. You find these public universities hostels are not in a good state. You find lack of water, electricity, connectivity. So I think it is upon the government to take appropriate action and hasten these issues to be resolved before comrades take issues at their own hand. And again, in as much as we are talking about the welfare of these comrades at the university, we again need to talk about the quality of education being offered there. You know, sometimes we may be having, one university here, for example, talk of the universities in Thika Road, we have Kenyatta University, we have KCA, and all those other universities. These universities, you find them offering totally same courses. Why don't the government change the conversation and let us have one course being offered in a university? Then we have another being offered in the same university. Because there is no essence, Ayub, of offering BCom here at the University of Nairobi, then again you offer it at Kenyatta University, then again you offer it at Cooperative University. Why don't we change the conversation and say, let us offer BCom in Cooperative University. Let us offer engineering in Technical University of Kenya, so that we make the conditions there for comrades good, because we'll have brought these comrades together. Yeah. And also, in as much as we are talking about the welfare, we improve on the quality of this education we are offering there. Yeah. Thank you. And good morning, Gloria.
Morning.
Thank you for your time. She is a student in the University of Nairobi. I'm taking your account shortly. Fidel, then, how can these issues, which are very concerning given the accounts given to us by Remy and Evans, be addressed? And do you think there's a goodwill towards addressing them substantively?
As Remy has uttered before, universities are in a total flop, both academically and infrastructure-wise. Our universities over time are depreciating day in, day out due to the poor conditions of infrastructure, due to the affected condition of learning, among many other things. I believe it is high time, during the review committee that has been formed by the government to review the new funding model, we should move overboard and even address other issues appertaining universities running. Our universities are in a total mess, which affects the most important cause why students are in these universities. The main aim to be in these institutions is to seek higher education. And higher education cannot happen when we have problems in infrastructure, when you have problems in resource management in these institutions. So I feel the government needs to set up the committee, empower the committee more to resolve and to dive into action, addressing concerns that are faced in the universities. Most universities are equipped with infrastructure from way back then. No one comes to review the infrastructures. No one comes to check the conditions of our lecture halls. For example, in our universities, lecture halls that were built back in the 90s are still operational with no maintenance, with no nothing, and we can't put blame to the university. All this comes from the government. The problem was the funding from the government. We agree that the funding had a problem. The government put its effort in bringing up a new model, which is also faulty. And the problem of the fault in the model was lack of inclusivity. We agree that we needed a new model, yes. And we also agree that in the new model, we were supposed to be part and parcel of the committee that constituted the model, which we were not involved. We also appreciate the government for taking initiative of inviting us over as a committee to review the new model. We also want to call out the government that in this review committee, we want to be empowered at least to address other issues that are affecting university and the quality of education.
We'll talk about the other issues and the review process which the government has kickstarted, because concerns were raised, especially from the quarters of the students, and your concerns were that this is discriminatory and it locks out many learners from the opportunity to learn at or train at universities across the country. But Gloria, on this issue of welfare, the University of Nairobi certainly is the crown and the jewel. It's where strikes by lecturers it's the heartbeat of universities across the country. What's your view and what can you tell us of the situation there and the welfare concerns that normally you express addressed from where you sit?
Thank you so much. What I can say from the University of Nairobi is that we go on the streets because of the condition of the hostels. You find that the accommodation rates are so high and their conditions are not that good. Like we pay over 40,000 per year, and those who are graduating today used to pay 6,500 per year. So it's kind of high, and we can't afford that. And if you check on the condition of the hostels where we stay and pay on that amount, it's not that good. We don't like it. And at times we also lack water. We also lack good security. Like, we find that even hawkers hawk into our rooms and steal from us. And so the security is also not that strict on us. Yeah.
All right. Then this brings me to the question, Remy,
Yes.
of after the concerns, the expectations and the hope that these issues are addressed, that you, the comrades, have raised. But how effective is university leadership in the current setup? I mean, are you effective in the sense that you push for reforms, you push for changes, you push for attention to these problems? And are you proving as productive as the university leadership was back in the 1990s, that not only called for reforms at the university level, but also informed policy changes at the national level, compelling the government on very substantive issues that touched on real governance issues?
Ayub, it's so painful today where the student leadership is at. Student leadership is no longer effective as it was in the history of the early 1990s. Student leadership today are affected by several factors, including intrusion by the government, including intrusion by the administration. Student leaders can never speak for themselves. Student leaders are being compromised day in, day out. And we cannot sit and watch this. Very few people can today stand with integrity and state facts when other facts need to be stated. And as my friends here will tell you, I know that they may be economical with the truth, but the truth is that these people cannot stand to speak for themselves without compromisation. They'll start speaking, but at the end of the day, the track will stop somewhere. That is where we are. We are stooping too low as student leadership. The value of student leadership is gone. There was this thing called KUSO. It's no longer fighting for student welfare. The current, we don't know who is standing for what. So at the end of the day, we find that student leadership is compromised. We can no longer stand for ourselves. We can no longer speak for ourselves. We don't have avenue. We don't have resources. We are confused, just as comrades are still confused. Because at the end of the day, who are we going to run to, or who, at what level are we going to make stand firm decisions and take a firm stand as a student leadership? That is where we are heading to as a nation. And that is we are stooping too low as student leadership. We are no longer effective, I'm telling you the truth.
Yes.
And even from where I'm sitting or from where they are sitting, they can confirm to you that even for them, it's very rare for them to speak the truth and to speak for themselves. That is so alarming.
Yes, Evans, you have a point?
I'll disagree with my friend here because, when you date back to those years of radicality, which you were talking about, maybe of 90s, 95, early 2000, and today, and you make a quick comparison of student leadership in various universities, a lot has happened between then and now. Many things have changed along the way. There have been laws by the government. There have been constitutional reforms whereby the student leaders' powers have been reduced. But we as student leaders should be, what responsibility are we taking? Should we just sit back and say, oh no, we are weakling, the government is sitting on us, the administration is sitting on us? That should not be the case. We should stand firm and focus on bringing forth the comrades' interests. So in as much as many things have happened since then and today, and the changes are well visible, we should not again sit back and say, we are this, we are this. We should stop complaining and work from where we are and say, what is on the hand? What can we work about? What is it that we can do to change the conversation revolving around the education system? Yes.
And does that then mean that despite the freedoms thereafter, despite the expansion of the university environment, many campuses that have opened up, many universities, many learners going to the universities, does that then mean that you take the foot off the accelerator here in demanding for more reforms, better welfare, and the proper needs that must be met of the comrades across universities?
Yes, that can happen through both the administration of the university and again from the government by legislating laws. For example, the recent law that was legislated by the government was on matters of delegation. You find in the past, students used to exercise the veto powers directly by electing their student leaders. Nowadays, you find the government passed a law, and it is called Duale Bill, whereby you find delegates electing student leaders. So such reforms can be worked upon by the government. Yeah.
Okay. Fidel, government interference, nonetheless, despite the questions that are very many on whether how effective your leadership is across universities, government interference appears to be a constant issue, isn't it? And a reminder that at some level they want to micromanage, or the state wants to micromanage the university leadership in wanting specific agendas be addressed.
Yeah, that is very true. But I believe it is an individual responsibility for each and every leader. I was elected as Fidel Newton Wandiga to represent the students of Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology. It would be very shameful and demeaning of me to be micromanaged by the government to implement their desires, whereas I campaigned personally, I campaigned selflessly to satisfy my comrades' needs. The government interference has been there. I can't refute that point. But the truth of the matter is not all student leaders are micromanaged. People like us, people like me have stands, and we've once in a while been put in a condition where the government tends to micromanage us, but we've stood out in the way and said no to the micromanagement. That is why on the 9th of September, all student leaders across universities in Kenya rolled out memos, called out for nationwide demonstration to say no to the new funding model. The government has called us in several occasions to soothe us, to beseech us to take the model, to accept the model, to convince our fellow comrades back in our universities to work around the model, but we neglected their beseechment. We still sought out to the streets, and that is why the government is now inviting us as stakeholders to these reforms, not as question providers, not as solution providers, but as solution implementers. So I feel the government tried the micromanagement bit, but it failed. That is why they are trying to put us on board now. And we are still open to negotiations, till the stated dates. And other than that, when our demands are not met, the streets are still open for us, and we'll be more than willing to rave back to the streets and fight for our reforms once again.
All right, and when we get back from the break, Gloria, I'll begin with you, and then we focus on now the funding model, because that's where the hit of the moment was, because you have seen how young university students have put the president also on the spot when he had the sessions across the country in Mombasa, in Kisumu County, and many of them speaking about that and the disadvantage that comes with it, saying that it's discriminatory, it's sidelining them, many of their parents can't afford. They question the banding aspect and how they have been categorized into respective bands, and we'll be talking about that when we get back from the break, because it is now the focal point of attention for the government, not forgetting the lecturer strike and the impact this can have on you, the learners across universities in the country. The hashtag on X is Citizen Daybreak. The SMS code is 22422 at Citizen TV Kenya, and at Ayub Abdikadir. Be part of the conversation. I know there are many comrades out there, and we'll sample your feedback in the course of this broadcast. Stay tuned.